Okay, guys, I think we'll start. What do you say?
All right.
I
Yeah.
am totally
Let's
ready
do it.
for this.
Great.
Not at all. Well, I as a player is ready. Galen is not ready for what's going to happen.
No.
Well,
No.
maybe the fight. That's simple.
So I think last time we left, so you basically fended off a Kenku assassin attack, right? You kind of splitted. Several of you were at Excellence Shop, kind of trying to figure out what magical items you got. The other half of the party was saying goodbye to Aline and welcoming Rukvi into the fold. And so Kenku attacked you both. They were sent after you. You're not sure by whom, but you did find a parchment with a circle on it with several rays, like a sun or something like that, on one of the Kenku. So you kind of fended them off. They fled after hearing this gong sound that was probably psionic. You only heard it in your heads. And then you decided to go to Lord Eltercho's villa. There was a party, an adventuring party, that you were invited to. So you headed there, and apparently you kind of gathered a lot of guests. They were all dressed up in various costumes like adventurers. So you came, dressed with your own equipment, and you kind of blended in quite nicely. He tried to make this very prepared entrance. He wore a black robe and fangs, and he had like this vampiric costume, or was it? We don't know. But he tried to make this grand entrance before the main event started, whatever is the main event. But he was interrupted. He was interrupted by, in his own smoking room, with you present and with Galen's wife present and with the Open Lord present. He was interrupted because two portals, magical portals, kind of exploded into being, and out of them stepped out two otherworldly creatures. They were brownish, reddish, with two huge arms holding chains that ended up with shackles. And then a squeaky voice from inside the portal basically told them to get Quarian and Anderist. This is basically where we stopped. And you asked me, how does the Lord respond? And I said that he looks kind of irritated that someone interrupted him in mid-speech.
Did you say it was a squeaky voice?
Yeah, it was like, this one, get that one, and the one with the crown. And then there was another sentence that he said that pointed at Quarian, and that one also. Don't forget that one.
And we don't recognize the voice?
No, it's spoken common, but you didn't recognize the voice.
Creatures? What kind of creatures they are?
So you never saw them ever in your life. These are very large creatures. They have reddish flesh and some armor that it looks like it's made of some red metal, and it's rusted at a lot of places, dented with a lot of blood stains. It seems like they have been like in million fights. And other than
they
that,
have eyes they can see.
Yes,
like.
yes. Their skulls are like I would say reptilian, but it's not exactly that. They have horns and protruding jaws with large teeth, and their eyes are small and sunken. And you think that they have like 3 sets of eyes in each side of their skull. So it's kind of a really, really strange being. You've never seen anything like this before.
And how big are they?
So these are large. Like technically speaking, these are large creatures. So they are very big inside this tiny smoking room. So behind you, there's a single door that through which you've entered. Outside, all the people from Waterdeep are, having a ball, drinking wine, eating cheese, and the Lord is basically standing at the doorway with all of you inside, and he's kind of in mid-speech when all of this happens. So at this point, I want you all to roll for initiative, and then we'll see what happens.
Okay.
22
Nice.
for Galen.
Mm.
Good start.
Galen with what?
22.
22 for
Ooh.
Galen. Amazing.
You gotta love that about Galen. He's so fast.
Oh.
Yeah, he's like the opposite of Rookie. Rookie got a
Come on,
1.
it could be it could have been less than a 1. At least you don't have a negative modifier on your deck.
Yeah, 0.
1 Rookvi?
Yeah,
Man.
Corin has 14.
14 for...
I ate too many hors d'oeuvres.
Okay.
Feel bloated.
Really feeling all that shrimp cocktail.
Quarian
Yeah.
with a 14. Yes, next.
Forgar got an 8.
8 for Forgar.
7 for Andrist.
Oh my god.
I'm not the slowest!
Oh, you're the 3rd slowest.
That's like out of 5. That means I'm second fastest.
Okay, let's see how does the Lord is doing. Okay, that's not too bad. And we have Peleus with a 19, which is cool. And we have a shady elf standing right behind your wife, Galen.
Oh, right, yeah.
He rolled an 11.
That's a lot of actors in this game, in this fight.
Yes.
Fillory's in the room as well, but she's NPC, so she doesn't.
Okay, and for
Get her outta
those monsters. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, that's not very... Okay. Great. So, Galen, you are up first.
Yes, I am super fast and I'll do something really interesting. I'll go stand near to my wife and say, just stay behind me, and I'll just hold my action.
Okay, great. So that's a
I
hold.
wanna see what the creepy elf person is doing.
Okay. So Peleus comes next, and he will... I will simply improvise here and assume that he'll...
Cast Fireball on the room? Oh,
yeah, yeah.
That's a classic Peleus.
Yes.
No,
Or a
so
classic Keenan.
he will cast. I assume he has this. That spell that erupts thorns and stuff and make
Erupting Earth?
yes.
Oh, Entangle.
Entangle. So he will cast that, shouting words, and so the smoking room carpets kind of grow thorns and all kinds of the cloth there kind of grabs at your feet. So we'll see how to resolve that later on.
Is it all of us that gets entangled, or just
I'm not
of these,
sure. I'll try to look it up.
creatures that are totally not demons?
I'll try to look it up.
Totally not.
Yeah, I think it's like a 20-foot square, maybe, or 20 feet radius, something like that.
You know, I never could.
I can look it up while the others do something.
Yeah,
else.
do that because I have the the app, D&D Beyond, and I never could search anything there. It simply doesn't work. So look it up for me. Thanks. Next is
20
the Lord,
square. 20-foot square.
and it only applies when they try to move or something like that, right?
They fail their saving throw, they're stuck, and they get to try and break free every round, I believe.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So let's make this.
I think it's when they cast a spell. Yeah.
Okay, great. So
That has to be now.
what saving throw is it?
20-foot square strength save.
Strength
Strength,
save.
yeah.
Okay, so the first one will try to... Oh, yeah, first one definitely failed. Second one definitely succeeded. So let me write that down. Okay, great. So the Lord, Lord Eltor Chul, the Grand Wizard, the Master of Magic in the entire Eltor Chul Academy, is looking at all this. And he kind of, pushes his chest forward, flips his robes, and then with the heel of his foot slowly closes the door behind him. Okay.
So is he in the room with us?
Yes, he's in the room, but kind of slowly, just close the door so to block the entire view of all the audience.
I like his style.
Yeah. And then mass disintegrate, and we're all dead.
Yeah, that's right.
No, with his so-called action, he would call to the butler that stands right, behind the the closed door, and says, "We would like not to be interrupted for the time being, good sir." And all you hear is a whisper, "Yes, my lord."
I'm picturing the butler on the other side of the door, and all he hears is like screams and smashes. And he's
Nothing
totally
going on
unperturbed.
here.
He's just standing there with like
Yeah, Trey.
tray.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so now the monsters' turns come up. One of them is... So he can use his action to try and break free, right? But it will...
Yeah, they use their action to break free, and movement is it's uneven terrain or whatever, difficult terrain.
Oh, actually, they have magic
think.
resistance.
Oh,
yeah,
So
so
then
that...
they have advantage.
No, they
Okay.
don't have that. It's chill.
Yeah.
You didn't
Oh,
see that.
so do we
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you guys are next to me.
Okay, so
I also.
It's a small room. How big is your aura?
10 feet radius.
how big is your aura?
I also have 10-foot radius.
It's 20 foot.
It's
diameter.
too small for this room, man. Too big for this room, sorry. So, yeah, the first monster, after rolling with advantage, did manage to ignore the... resist the grab, but I think it's still difficult terrain, if I'm not
Oh, yeah.
mistaken.
Probably.
Okay, great.
I'd imagine.
So, he will simply lift one of his shackles and simply fling it towards Enderist. Now, Enderist, the chain erupts toward you like it is animated or something like that. There was no strength involved. Okay? So he rolls a... That's a 23 to hit.
No, he misses.
He misses?
Can I have the fighting style protection? So if within 5 feet of me, I can impose disadvantage on the attack.
Okay.
I don't know if it's before or after you tell me the roll.
I have no idea.
I think it's after. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, we know that
You get a
now.
reaction to impose disadvantage on the attack roll.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I can roll with a disadvantage. So, but do you want to kind of describe what's going on? To kind of...
Yeah.
Yeah, go
It's
for it.
I have to be wearing a shield to use this action, so definitely my shield
Okay.
comes from my back, like flies into my hand,
Amazing.
and bang, like Captain America, just bang that thing off if I can.
Yes, you can. So it turns out that indeed you managed to kind of block the chain that flies toward Enderist. The chain and the shield meet, sparks goes off, and there, with the large gong, like, and the entire room kind of shakes, and then you can hear a knock on the door.
And a bunch of Kenku assassins appear. Is that our gong? You called?
So there's a knock on the door, and the servant says, "Milord, Mr. and Mrs. Founders are here. They're querying about your Red Rose Champagne number 7. Should I serve that to them?" And the Lord says, "Please do. Yes, go for it. Yes." Okay, that was one attack. Another chain comes at... you know what? No. The creature turns to you, Rukvi, and with his fist simply tries to kind of smack you dead on.
Ah!
Okay. So that was only an 11 to hit.
No.
No. Okay. So you kind of duck behind it. You can actually feel the air moves like as he punches the empty air. So you duck behind that, and as he does that, the squeaky voice shouts, "No, grab them! Forget about the other one. We'll kill them later." Okay, the other guy is heading to Quarian, and he tries to chain you. So the first attack
Okay.
was a 13 to hit.
Okay, so no. And I'm going to give him cutting words for the next one.
Okay, which means I'm rolling with a
reduce.
disadvantage. Reduce. Okay.
Reduce 7 from his next attack.
Okay.
Damn.
Nice.
So after reducing 7, that's a 20 to hit.
Whoa! Okay. I can't say that I'm feeling much better, but I'm feeling a bit better. Okay, it hit.
Okay, it hits you. So it hits you 4. That is a 3 and 5. That's 8 plus 5. That's 13 points of bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
And you are grappled. The chain kind of slams at you, hitting you, and then grabs, let's say, your arm, kind of real tight.
Okay.
You can, of course, try to escape it. It's as if you're grappled.
Right.
And the squeaky voice says, "Yippee!" Okay, that's resolved their attacks. And now, actually, it's your turn, Quarian.
Okay. What is a check that I need to do to avoid a grapple?
It's a escape, dexterity or strength.
I think you can use acrobatics or athletics, maybe.
Probably.
And is that going to use my move or my action?
It's your action, as far as I can tell.
Yes.
Hmm.
To try and escape. You can.
Okay.
So you can do everything but move from a grapple.
Okay. So the guy who just tried to, who's holding the chain
Yeah.
on the other side.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to cast polymorph on him and turn him into a snail.
Okay. Amazing.
Yes.
I love this
So-
spell.
Yes.
He needs to do a wisdom saving throw, DC 15.
Okay.
And they have
So-
magic resistance, right?
Yes, exactly. So, DC 15 of what? Wisdom?
Wisdom, yeah.
So the first one is a fail. The second one is...
No, just one.
What? He has an advantage because he has magic resistance. He rolled a 10 and his wisdom, I don't think it's that high. It's plus 3. So,
Yes.
you have a snail.
Turn him into a snail.
Excellent.
Don't.
So, I can't cast a cantrip right now, right? That was my action.
correct.
Okay.
Only if it's a bonus action.
No, it's not. So, but can I run over and pick it up?
Sure.
Now that,
Of course.
all right, then I'm gonna run
Just-
over, pick it up, and like throw it into like a small container.
Okay, so you pick up
Flask.
this, flask. Put it inside.
And I try to run away from the other one.
Okay, you are, you're not the one holding the potion, the red potion, right?
I am.
Okay, great. So you can hear the squeaky voice say, "What?" And it's the elf's turn. Okay, so Quarian, you see him smiling in a way that kind of, gives you the heebie-jeebies, and he
Okay.
draws a very slim knife, and he points it at your wife.
And you're talking about Galen, right?
Oh, Galen,
then
sorry.
Oh yeah.
And then Galen breaks his neck.
I wouldn't do that.
Please do.
Yeah, right?
So, he then slices your wife from behind. She screams.
Okay.
Let's see.
Oh,
If,
he's going unhinged.
let's see if
I would like to maybe do something.
yes, because you
Right.
held your turn, you are able to do something. So do it.
Okay.
I totally want to see Galen lose it.
Yeah.
Galen wouldn't lose it. Galen's currently dressed as a wizard. So I'll cast a spell with my staff. And my spell is called Crack Skull, maybe, hopefully. That's a 24 to hit.
Oh yeah.
Blunt force trauma is the spell.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, there we go.
That's
There we
10
go.
point of damage, and I'm spending a key point to make it a stunning strike, so he needs to do a constitution save.
Okay.
DC
13?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a natural 1.
Oh, good. So he's stunned.
Stunned.
Well, then I'm going to attack him again with
Okay.
advantage.
Okay.
Way to go,
That's
Galen.
22.
Oh my god.
And then I'm going to quick him twice with advantage. Ooh,
And
that's good. I had advantage. Oh, that's a 10
Yeah.
with advantage. And a 23.
anyone wanted
I
to
assu-
see Galen lose it? Here, you're seeing him lose it.
You have to pull him away from the corpse.
I assume the 10 doesn't hit.
No, the 10 doesn't hit.
No, the two other that hit is 15 in all.
Oh my
Total.
god.
So only 25 points of damage.
Amazing.
Oh, and just because I can, I need him to make a strength save, and I'm trying to push him 15 feet away.
I am assuming he has like disadvantage because of his stunned condition, right?
Yeah, maybe. I
Yeah.
can't remember.
Yes,
I would
he
assume.
failed it. He failed it anyway.
Do you push him towards the gate?
Just away, 15 feet away.
Away from the gate?
Away from my wife.
Okay, so you push him.
That I still don't know I had married.
So you push him towards the door, and he slams against the wall. And then you hear the butler says, "My lord, is everything okay?" To which the lord says, "Yes, we're nearly done here. A couple of more minutes, please."
And after I'm doing that, then I'll like just take a breath and say, "Oh, I'm sorry, Evelyn, you had to see that."
She's. Why did you hit him? He was doing nothing. Look at those monsters. Take them.
He was trying to attack you.
No, he wasn't. The monsters are here.
He had a knife.
A knife. And then she kind of points at the two huge creatures with chains and fists and armors and
the one huge creature.
right, and the snail.
Yeah, but those aren't after you. They're after those two, and a point at Quarry and an address.
That's true.
What became of you? These are your friends. You should.
They can protect themselves.
I don't know you anymore.
Galen has hardened since adventuring started.
Yeah.
He's not the same man anymore.
Forgar, what do you do?
Yeah. So there's still one of these monsters left?
Yes.
Well, I think I'm gonna smite him.
Okay.
I'm gonna wind up and hit him hard with my giant frost axe. And that's only medium. Does 16 hit?
Nearly so.
Oh,
Second attack?
I don't have second attack.
Yes, you
You're
do.
Paladin at 7th level? Yeah, you do.
What?
You get that at 5th level, I think.
Incredible.
How long?
Hey,
have you
I'm
played
playing the
this game?
NPCs here.
All right.
Read
My
the damn
bad.
book.
Good thing you don't play a fighter.
Yeah, it's worse. It's worse. It's a
Forgar,
11.
true to form.
Okay, so you kind of run with your axe. Now, remind me, that's the nice axe that you got from the...
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Oh,
There we go.
Here we go.
right.
So, missing those two hits on the creature, you kind of feel yourself filled with rage. The axe kind of fuels your internal fury and pours more anger and more, adrenaline into your body. So you kind of become this monstrosity of a creature who only wants to see blood. So you basically are now considered raging.
All right.
Awesome.
All right.
Rage Pally.
Yeah. So,
Yes. Oath of Rage.
both of rage. Morten, can you please check what the benefits does a rage give Forgar?
He gets resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, slashing damage. You get a +2
Advantage
to
on strength.
damage and an advantage on strength checks, I believe.
Okay.
I thought it was advantage on attacks. Yeah,
No.
never mind.
That's like if
That's
you do reckless.
Reckless.
An advantage on strength saving throws.
Okay,
Strength
so
Saving
strength
throws.
yeah.
so you kind of foam right now, and so yes,
I'm pissed.
yeah, exactly.
Straight pissed. I missed. I am furious.
It's the wrath of nature.
Okay, great. And the rest.
Okay, so I'm going to cast Minor Illusion, and I believe I can make it appear wherever. Yeah, so I'm going to make the sound of the voice from the gate.
Okay.
That little squeaky voice is going to come from the gate and go, "No, you fool! Get back in here now!"
So that voice kind of billows into the room, and then you hear the same voice saying, "Who said that?"
"Oh, that was me! Get in here, you idiot!"
I need you to roll. Make it a deception check for me. Charisma deception.
Not persuasion.
You can do.
Oh, that's not bad.
Oh.
18.
18 is amazing. So the creature that was targeting Quirion, no, that one became a snail. So the creature that was targeting you kind of turns to the portal and simply starts walking toward it, and you can hear the squeaky voice say, "No, you idiot! Turn around! Get him! The crown! The crown!"
Don't listen to me. I'm an idiot.
Hey, that's not fair. And then you hear him say, "Hey, boss, there are powerful wizards inside. Wasn't prepared for that." At this point, something. So, Andres, do you kind of this is your turn, or do you want to do?
That's my action. I will move behind Rokvi.
Okay, so after you do that, please roll a perception check for me. And Rukvi, it's your turn.
Awesome.
17 perception.
Great.
I'm going to cast.
I've ever been.
I'm going to cast Thunderous Smite. So I put my hammer up in the air, and it doesn't get struck by lightning because we're inside. But if we were outside, it gets struck by lightning. And it gives my next attack that I actually land.
Mm-hmm.
It'll make a big thunder sound, and it'll do plus 2d6 thunder damage, and it'll push the target 10 feet away if they fail a strength saving.
Okay, so you cast it on the creature, the one that's left.
On my hammer. I buff my hammer, and then I'm gonna hit the creature.
Awesome. You want to push him toward the portal?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I want to do.
Great.
So first hit is 25. So that lands the 2d6.
Yeah.
It's gonna be 11 bludgeoning plus 7 thunder damage, and they have to pass a DC 14 strength saving throw, which, I mean, they look pretty beefy.
Yeah. So he managed to do that quite easily.
All right, then I say I see, okay, and then I just swing him again with my hammer, my second attack. Crit.
Amazing.
Too bad that wasn't a thunderous smite.
Yeah.
46 thunder damage. That would be nice.
And
Thor and Captain America in one. So overpowered.
That's 14 bludgeoning.
14.
Captain Asgard.
Amazing. Okay, so as you strike this second creature, Andres, I told you that you rolled a perception, so you kind of see something emerging from the portal. So what you see first is a goblin head and an arm kind of pointing toward all of you, and then you can see some very strange, it looks like an eye stalk, so multi-joint kind of moving like this, and at the end there is an eye stalk, and it simply kind of plops into the room, kind of looks around, and then you can hear a voice saying, "Oh, terribly sorry. Oh, I didn't know you're with the Lord, and so many wizards in one room. And then the Lord says, "Excuse me?" And then it kind of looks at all of you, and then it kind of fixates on Andrest. You with the crown, right? And then he looks at Quirion, and the stone is yours, right?
What are you talking about?
I'm wearing the crown. I can't exactly.
What crown?
I'm just gonna cock an eyebrow at it.
And then the eye stalk kind of moves to Galen, and then it kind of looks at the belly of your wife, and it says, "Oh, you did that to her. That's disgusting." And then he looks at Rockvi, blinks at you twice, looks at Forgar. "Ooh, somebody treat that man. He's got foam coming out of his. Is that like is sick or something, right?"
He seems okay.
He seems okay.
So it kind of
Just the way I like
retracts
him.
and says, "Well, I can see that you're quite beefy, defeating my Kenku assistants. Yes, this is what I wanted to say. Assistants. So in this case, I will bid you goodbye, and I will come for you later." And then he kind of plops back into the
Bye.
portal, and the portal is closing and then opening just a little bit, and there's a goblin arm. "That snail, please."
I throw the snail. I throw him the flask.
"Thank you."
I grab the goblin's hand
Yep.
as the portal closes.
Hold
Hey,
it.
wait. So the portal closes, and you have a goblin hand with a snail in the middle of the room.
Nice.
How
And did the
long-
other monster leave as well, or is he
Yes,
still in there?
yes. No, he left.
Okay.
And how long does polymorph last?
Yeah,
1 hour.
right.
Concentration 1 hour.
Yes. I look over at
I grab the snail and I go back to Quirion. "Here's your snail back."
We should serve that as escargot to the Lord.
They almost took it.
yes.
That asshole.
Delicacy.
But don't worry, I got you.
You're
Yeah,
set.
Tell to Lord Elter True, I have a gift for you.
And he says, "Okay."
Don't forget, Lord Eldridge told us that he was going to kill us.
All right, then no.
He said that
Um,
explicitly.
Something about us being the finale or something like that.
Oh, he said you could be part of the finale if you want to, or
Something like that.
it was kind of like a threat.
I felt threatened. He
Yeah,
also
me
has
too.
fangs.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
W-
been using these for weeks.
when you say that, he kind of smiles and removes them. Wood.
Would. Oh, fooled me.
I would like to go over to the still stunned elf. He's stunned until the end of this turn, and say, "We should question this guy," and then I'll smack him again.
Wake him up.
I would
Yes.
like to punch him within an inch of his life.
So
I think you
Yeah,
already
well-
did that.
I don't know. I don't know how hurt he looks.
the Lord
So
kind
I'm
of
not gonna let my guard.
kind of raises his arms and says, "Well, it's important for all of us to understand that." And he looks back, opens the door, and says, "No more interferences, please." Closes the door again, and then says, "Let's all take a deep breath. Do you know what that was?" And he points at the now gone portals.
Not really. No.
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 That was the Xantar.
Oh, son of a bitch.
The what?
The beholder that runs the
This is
Oh.
skull port beneath Waterdeep.
That's what I thought.
this
It's
is
the godfather of
the mastermind, the godfather of everything crime in Waterdeep. What the hell does this creature wants from you two? And he points at Andrist and Porin.
So, my friend here has this
the
crown.
crown off my head and behind my back. Nothing.
Doesn't want anything.
And he has mentioned a stone of mine.
Yeah, that'd be that sending stone.
That's probably the sending stone. That
Yeah, I need you to meet someone really, really important. Follow me. And he opens the door, and you can see that all of the crowd, the people are, oh, he's back. The host is back, and what about the main event? And he kind of motions you to get out of the room, and he hushes the crowd and says, please, ladies and gentlemen. And then his voice kind of echoes into the room magically, and he says, welcome, the adventurers that sank the remorseless. And the crowd is kind of,
I didn't. What?
Yeah, not him.
I don't know.
except this one. And,
Yeah, that's right.
Except me.
and the crowd only goes to their direction. You're not included.
I don't go there. I drag the hopefully now unconscious and very bloody elf over to my wife ? And the people she was talking to. I say, who is this guy?
They both look, stunned by the fact that you're dragging this helpless man beaten to a pulp. And they don't even see a knife in his hand.
He's still breathing.
So that's fine. You are still at the room. The Lord, for the rest of you, says, come. And then he turns to the crowd and says, let the main event begin. And then from the, not windows, but the archways that are set above the grand foyer and the hall room, jumps elves dressed in flowing robes, and then they start to hover in midair, dancing and, entertaining the guests, like with magical lights that kind of follow them around, and all the crowd is kind of oh, this is amazing. And the Lord says, come.
As soon as he started to announce us and the crowd looked towards us, I'm going to use my mask of many faces and just change my appearance to look like anybody else. Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Just not me.
That's fine.
Am I still raging?
Yeah, foam from the mouth. oh yeah.
Fogar, you got a little. Alright.
So yeah, the strange thing about it is that it doesn't kind of evaporate. It's still on. So you are about to kill someone. You're not sure who, but someone will get killed. In the following minutes.
Hey, Galen, can you pass your friend over there?
So Galen, your wife says, this is my fiancé. He's the one who wanted to take me as I am after you left. And look, the first thing you do is beat him to a pulp. What's got into you? What are you doing? And the open Lord kind of looks at you, I shouldn't be here. This is, between the two of you, I'll be doing something else, someplace else. And she kind of...
But he had a knife.
and
I'll start looking around for the knife.
Had a knife.
she
Frantically carrying things.
she kind of points at the floor and says, "This tiny letter opener," and you can see his knife kind of at the floor, like lying there. It's Why, Galen? Why?
He was about to attack you.
She simply, well, it's a problem. She can't lift him. So she simply kind of kneel besides him. Remind me, does she have any? I don't remember if you kind of wired into her some class features.
I think she's a priest.
She's a priest, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So she kind of
Yeah,
heals
so
heals him.
I'll just stand there and look like really confused, and then wipe off some of the blood I have on my hand after I punched him repeatedly.
Yeah. You rub the teeth from your. Okay. So she helps him up, and then they both leave. She kind of supports him. He is holding his broken nose, and she takes him out of the room, looking at you as if you are mad.
I would like to try to follow them.
Okay, that's fine.
Out of sight.
Yeah. Okay.
So they don't see me.
Yeah. So make a stealth check, and the rest of you should let me know: are you following the Lord?
Also, could I do an insight check on him?
On both of them?
Mostly him, but yeah, maybe both of them.
Sure. So yeah, make a check.
Yeah, it's a 22 stealth. Oh, and an 18 insight.
Okay. So
now I'm rolling good.
Yeah. So you believe that she is really, puzzled and confused by your behavior. She is kind of she's worried about him, but his body language kind of signs that. He believes that he was he got away. This is what you feel from his body language, that he got away. Luckily.
Yeah, so I really need to follow them and protect her from him.
Yes. So as you, Galen, try to follow them, you can see a woman, roughly the age of Lord Elterchill, so kind of 60s, maybe a little bit older, wearing her gray hair in a amazing dew with all kinds of flowers and birds, and the current dress of the finest of Waterdeep's nobles. She's wearing a large flowing dress or a gown, and you see no jewelry on her except one ring that kind of draws your attention, and she is walking towards you, gives you a faint smile, and says, as she kind of watches you leave the room, excuse me, did you happen to see my husband, the Lord? I can't seem to find him.
And isn't he like out in the open?
So he took your friends to some other place.
Yes. Oh no, sorry, I didn't see anything. Oh damn it, I shouldn't lie. Oh wait, I didn't really see anything. I think he went that way, and I pointed direction that he led them.
Okay, so she says, thanks. If you see him later on, tell him his wife is waiting for him. We have so many guests, and, well, it's not very pleasant to be alone. Mm-hmm. And then she leaves. Okay, so the rest of you guys, the Lord, if you let him, so he leads you back to the entrance hall, and from there he takes several turns and up a flight of stairs into what appears to be a library. So as he opens the door, the scent of old parchment kind of smack you full on, and you can see it's not a big room, but its walls are lined with all kinds of shelves, and they are packed with leather-bound books. So those libraries in which you have moving leather.
Yeah.
So that's the kind. The really interesting part is one of the shelves. So think about it. It's books upstairs, books downstairs, and in the middle there is a shelf that simply contains a lot of crystal bottles. They are transparent, but something is swirling inside. Okay, and there are like 18 of those. And on one of the walls, it's the north one, you can see a huge 70-foot tall portrait of the Lord, the Lady, and 3 sons. Okay, 2 of them are young, relatively young, and 1 of them is a little bit older. So
What is the name of the artist?
So are you taking a look?
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't go looking at paintings.
Never again.
So yes, it's the same.
Okay.
It's the same one. Remind me the name. I have a name here, but I'm not sure it's the one I used actually.
Quentin Fletcher.
Quentin Fletcher. Yeah, I remember that I had a different name, but that's fine. So that's it. And just before he kind of lets you into the room, he says, "You're about to meet the Blackstaff. Please act accordingly."
I'll drop my disguise.
I stand up straighter.
And use prestidigitation to like clean myself off, smooth out my jacket.
I look at you and I say, "Can you please?"
I play some
Thank you.
background music.
Nice.
I just get more angry.
Yeah.
Yes, he's still Forgar's still
Does this
frothing.
rage last like minutes?
Yeah, how long does it like?
So yeah, we're PG-13, but it's like a failed Viagra stuff. It's always on. Something's. I mean, it's a problem.
If it lasts more than 2 hours, call a priest.
I'll
Yeah.
look at Lord Elder Chull and kind of look at Forgar before we meet the Blackstaff.
So he says, "What? I mean, isn't it like the usual state with these guys?"
No, this is
Nah.
different. This is new.
Well, I'm not a priest.
He might attack the Blackstaff. But you're a
There-
powerful wizard.
Oh, I will. Oh, I will.
At least I heard you were a powerful wizard.
He says, "Can you at least grab him so I'll make I'll examine him?"
I'm gonna look at Rookfi.
I give a bear hug from behind.
Okay, so
I do this thing like
yeah.
grab him like this.
So Forgar, you're still yourself. Yes, you're still in control. So if you allow Rukvi to kind of hold you, the Lord does what appears to be like this. He opens up your mouth and looks at your eyes and picks at your nostrils and ears. And
I
he's
chomp at one of his fingers. Yeah.
And he says, the Lord says, after looking at your friend for a minute or so, he's under the effect of a curse.
Will this red potion I've got remove curses? Or is it just diseases and conditions? Elixir of health.
You check it out. If it works, then it works. So while you check it out,
Okay.
I'll talk to Galen here. Now, Galen, you are following your wife and her fiance, and he kind of you hear him not bitching, but basically kind of throw rubbish at you and slanders you. And did you look at his eyes, and what the hell was he doing? I mean, those creatures, and I wanted to do something about it, and then he tackled me from behind and started punching me, and all I could see is how should I protect you, and I can't believe you even dated him, and what were you thinking? This goes on and on and on and on, and suddenly she kind of stops and holds her her huge belly and says, "I don't feel good." And he says, come, I'll take you to the garden. Let's breathe some fresh air."
Ooh, I so want to kill him, but Galen is a nice guy. He wouldn't do that.
You sure?
Maybe. By the
Stop
way,
pretending.
let's see what happens next in the
Should have
garden.
brought me with you.
So he leads her off, and then in the corner of your eye, you kind of spot the Lord taking your friends upstairs. And then you can see him meeting with some other people from Golden Fields. So more refugees probably. And they kind of gather around the two of them, and he starts to, describe what happened in the happened in the smoking room, slandering you as much as possible. While she looks very pale and unhealthy. They take her, give her a glass of water, make her sit outside. Now, outside, you can see like hundreds of the town's commoner, the city's commoners, simply in the fields, in the villa's grounds. They are being fed and they are being served food and wine, while the main party is inside. It seems like the Lord have opened the gates for the commoners to kind of feed themselves and enjoy themselves as well.
For now, I'll just stay near, but out of sight.
Okay.
As much as possible, at least.
Great.
And ignore anything he's saying.
That's the
sure?
hard part.
Yeah, just like reciting some prayers in my head, like Shante, the All Mother, or whatever it is she's called. I can't remember.
Make a perception check as her people are talking to her. You can see that many people are kind of consulting with her, even though she appears to be sick. They're kind of talking to her and try to get her attention. So roll a perception check, and
that's 21.
Okay, great. So you will pick some parts. Okay, so the other guys, did you check?
Yeah, it won't work, but I'll try something. I'm gonna use all 5 of my sorcery points to create a 3rd level slot, and then I'm gonna try dispel magic.
Okay.
Ooh.
So, yeah, you want to say something?
I'm assuming it's a spell above 3rd level, so I'm just gonna.
That's fine.
Roll my.
Yeah. So you pour all the energy you can muster and kind of.
Is it just a charisma check?
Plus your proficiency bonus, I think, or magic.
So it's a spell attack, basically.
Yeah.
All right, 18.
18. So with an 18, Forgar, you suddenly feel like the shaft of the axe becomes colder and colder, and then you relax, and the force that took hold of you kind of dissipates, but it leaves you totally exhausted. Okay. So the blood kind of recedes from the red kind of recede from your eyes, and you can breathe freely again. But it was nice. I mean, you kind of want to feel it again, so you kind of hold on.
Oh, buff.
Yeah, so you kind of hold on to that axe.
Yeah, pull yourself together, man. We're about to meet the most powerful wizard in Waterdeep.
You almost lost yourself there.
I don't know what happened. I missed. And that just really pissed me off.
Missing
thanks
sucks.
For calming me down. Right?
So as you enter the library, yeah.
Right before we enter, I just want to do an insight check on Lord Ertl to make sure. I want to know if he's telling us the truth, that we're actually going to meet the Black Staff or not.
Okay. Make an insight check.
Never mind.
Yeah, you believe him.
All right.
So, as you enter the library, indeed you can see someone inside, but when this figure turns, you can see that actually it's a she. You see a young woman in her mid-30s, and she is basically short, curly hair, dark-skinned. She's wearing, fine leather boots, a nice leather jacket adorned with some funny markings, which you obviously identify as false. There's no magic inside them. She is reading a book from the library, and the only scent of power that you feel from her kind of emanate strongly from a large black staff that she is holding. and you immediately identify it as the black stuff. So this young woman and the image you had for this most powerful wizard ever, basically, is kind of jarring. You don't know what to expect from her. Obviously, so this feeling kind of strikes you all, and it seems like she feels it. So she kind of closes the book, irritated, and looks at all of you, and especially at the Lord, who is kind of ushering you inside.
I'm gonna bow to her.
That's it.
I see Ender's bowing, and I bow.
Very courtly bow. You know, the one leg forward.
Very contrasted to my shitty, clumsy bow.
Quarian Forgar?
She's the one?
Yeah.
The most powerful one? Really?
I know, right?
Says...
I thought she'd be taller.
I'll bow to her as well.
Okay.
Very, very courteously.
I'll notice everybody else bows and then awkwardly follow a bow, but like late.
Yeah.
You know? Oh shit, everybody else bowed. My bad. Sorry.
She kind of rolls her eyes and looks at the Lord. She doesn't say anything, but obviously she is kind of expecting him to say something. And then he says, "These are the ones thinking they're remorseless." And then she kind of lights up and says, "Oh, so who is the one of you meeting my pet?"
I assume you mean the cat?
Indeed.
I'll take a half step forward.
Cat?
And I'll hold up the tiny little scroll and say, may I ask why you delivered this to us?
Because I didn't want you to seek the remorseless. That was a grave mistake.
I apologize, and I look at for my friends egregious error.
We all look at Peleus.
I hide the axe.
It was not. That would be a lie. I'm probably gonna have to roll the deception check. Why did you want that ship to remain afloat? It was attacking Waterdeep.
She's about to answer, and then the Lord says, "The Xanatar paid us a visit just a while ago. No casualties," he says. And then he kind of rethinks his words and says, "Well, I hope Ildor is fine. He was beaten, but other than that, no casualties." And she looks at you, all of you guys, and says, "Why did the Xanatar pay us a visit?"
I'm going to ignore him and look at her. Go ahead, though. What was he saying?
And she says, "There was someone on board the Remorseless which we wanted to interrogate. He was once a member of the Greyhands, a force of adventurers that I lead. He was on the Remorseless, Harshnag, the frost giant."
We freed Harshnag.
You freed him.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah. Somebody did.
We know where he is. If you could send us post-haste to Baldur's Gate, we can retrieve him for you.
She says, "There is no frost giant in Baldur's Gate. If there was, I would have known about it. My feeling..."
They double-crossed us.
Of course they did.
I'm just catching up. Come on. We had a deal. I thought... Oh.
Well, next campaign you'll know.
She looks at the Lord and says, "These guys showed up. The Remorseless sank. Harshnag is gone, and now the Xanatar and the Zentarim are at each other's throats. What do you make of this?"
Ooh, interesting.
And he looks at you and says, looks at you kind of.
We tell her about I tell her about the two Zentarim agents that we met there, and that they were actually our plan with them was that they would actually teleport Harshnag over to Baldur's Gate. I tell her what we agreed upon with them. If you do not sense him over there, then they must have double-crossed us. And maybe that's the reason.
The Lord kind of... Yeah, go ahead.
We're questing for the Ring of Winter. And I believe the Zentarum and the Xanathar are also looking for it, and Harshnag likely knows something about its location.
Galen, you tell me whenever you want to kind of join the conversation, okay? As long as you don't, I assume you're there.
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay. She says, the Lord says, well, we do know that the Zentarim have lost something at the Xanathar's tunnel system, and there is this issue with the Pale King, and suddenly you feel that he kind of shedded a costume. He suddenly sounds a lot more, serious and a lot more focused than what you've so far seen. And he says, I personally believe that they were spelljacked.
Spelljacked?
What does that mean?
Who's they?
Your two Zentarim agents.
Do I know what spelljacking is?
So,
I've heard of this.
Spelljacking is a very costly and complex ritual that manages to kind of trap someone who is teleporting. So you want to teleport from A to B, and then you kind of...
Okay, so the Xanathar has Harshnag, which means it's only a matter of time before he learns the location of the Ring of Winter. There's Zentarum on it, obviously. Why was he coming after us? I mean, he wants the... Oh, if he gets the Ring of Winter and the crown, he's going to have a lot of control over the giants.
What is the power of the Ring of Winter?
I'm not entirely sure.
But the black stuff says it's able to bestow immortality on its wearer and also encase the world in an unyielding layer of ice. The giants call it the never-ending winter.
That's quite the blackmail tool he would have.
So this is what the storm giants are looking for as well, is it?
Mm-hmm.
We believe so. This is why we wanted the remorseless floating. We wanted to negotiate with them, or at least have the appearance of doing so. By sinking it, you basically threw us and the frost giants and their king into war.
They were going to attack Waterdeep. We saw their plans. We tried to thwart their plans.
You see the hint of a smile, because when you say that, she kind of, did 1 + 1 and realized why they were attacking the wrong port, basically. So you see a hint of a smile, and then she says, so they would have toppled a couple of rocks from our walls, and then it would have allowed us to come begging for some to parley with them, which they would have, because they have lost their giant, and they also believe that he is held here. But now we don't have the luxury of talking to them. Not anymore.
There are other ships that are en route, I believe.
This was just the spear point of an invasion. This was to test you, possibly distract you. We did the best we could with the information we had at hand, hoping to save lives. I see we've disappointed you.
She says, well, others have disappointed me as well, trying to pursue their own plans. And she looks at the Lord, who kind of raises his hands, and he says, I was not considering the fact that a group of certain adventurers will storm my warehouse and discover the everything we took from the Raven's Gamble. And then he looks at you guys.
What is the Raven's Gamble?
Oh, we did that. We invade.
What's the Raven's Gamble? It's a ship, I'm guessing. But who owns the Raven's Gamble?
He says the Raven's Gamble was a ship that was attacked by Tritons.
Mm-hmm.
And Zunis was, or Galen, I think, was the one on a ship that was attacked.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah. Luckily, we had one of my apprentices was using this ship to travel from Ruathim to Waterdeep. He used magic to teleport back to the city and told us about the Triton attack. Obviously, we've intercepted the ship, and I took all its content, its cargo, into a warehouse. I wanted to understand what's going on. We found a lot of interesting stuff inside. Does the name Intellect Devourer says something to you?
No.
Yes.
Yep.
So it was
it was a friend,
Zentarum ship?
I'm not sure whose ship was it. It wasn't Zentarim. What we tried to do is we took hold of the cargo and we wanted to feed it to the black market to kind of lure buyers. But your appeal there in my warehouse kind of set my plan out of motion. And suddenly we had Zentarium, Tritons, and a few other interesting people knocking on our doors. There was this guy, and he looks at the black stuff. What was his name? And she answers, Stev, I believe.
That name is familiar.
Yeah.
So the oldest surviving members of you kind of remember maybe an acquaintance. No, I don't think they've ever heard the name. Morton, remind me.
Yeah, no, I think only I have.
Yeah. So.
Well,
Jenkins. So she says something that does steer your memory. She says this guy came out from nowhere. He is not aligned, not with the Zentarium, and not with the Blackstar, not with the Xanatar, but he did manage to sabotage the defenses of the Nandar estate, not far away from here, at Nightstone. And the Zentarium did manage to take over it. And this you should remember. It was one of your first adventures.
Yeah. This was
the evil Centurion destroyed the Drawgate Bridge.
Yes.
This is
how dare they?
The Black Dragon guy, right?
Yeah, Jekin was definitely evil.
No. Jenkins had nothing to do with it. It was already destroyed when he got there, and he don't know how his stagger ended up in the mechanism.
And then
how his nose got broken.
And then the Lord said, but we did try to investigate. We've sent one of our finest cops, detectives. That was your character.
Drowned.
Yeah, drowned. Unfortunately, he died, providing us with no additional information. We are losing agents in this war.
What a noob.
Noob. And now it seems that the Xanatar is holding all the cards.
Well, it seems like we're all on the same page now. Perhaps we can work together, and if you point us at the right direction, we can do the proper damage where it needs to be done.
And she kind of twitches when you say damage, and she says, I don't want any more mistakes. I want it a surgical operation. We will create a diversion that will take most of the Xanatar forces away from its main hideout. I want someone to infiltrate it and free Harshnag. He is key to understanding what's going on here. You must understand, Harshnag is a fellow adventurer. He worked for this city for years. If there is anyone who understands what's going on between the giants and the Zentarim and the Tritons, and she was about to say something else, but she kind of stopped herself at this point. You all felt it. It was very jarring. He is the one we should talk to.
I tell her about what that goblin said, what that eye socket that came out of the portal said about one thing's a crown and one thing's a stone.
Shut your mouth.
It's a big elbow.
What crown? What crown?
Okay, I say we wanted a stone.
Nah, it's already out. She knows I've got it anyways.
She knows they have it, yeah.
She says, yeah, go ahead.
And I explained to her where I got the stone, what we did with it. Do you think that this stone could lead us to this Xanathar's lair?
I believe that this stone can lead you to where they hold their prisoners. This half of a stone probably belongs to one of those Zentarim agents you talk of. And you don't need an insight because you've kind of already did. She is holding herself from telling everything. You think that specifically about this stone, she knows more than she's saying.
I try to convince her to say more.
Okay. She kind of tries to shift the attention to Enderist, and she says, your crown is also a key to some lock that we haven't found yet. But since you have already binded yourself to it, it's not that I'm going to take it away from you. Actually, I think it's safer this way. And then she looks at Rukvi and Forgar, and she says, if you, and at Peleus obviously, if you manage to free Harshnag, it is imperative that you leave Waterdeep at once.
Oh, why?
Because the Xanathar will come and kill us.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, okay then.
And she says, whatever Harshnag knows, she says he's slow to trust. He will probably try and take you to some errand or some quest or some imagined journey in which he will test you. If you pass his test, only then he will reveal what needs to be revealed. My personal feeling about it, and you can see the Lord kind of twitching uncomfortably behind. She says, he wasn't about to come to Waterdeep. He wasn't about to tell us anything about what's going on. I feel that he's growing himself distant from Waterdeep. Why? I'm not sure. This is why I want strangers, if you will, capable strangers, to free him and earn his trust.
I tell her about where I got the stone from. Will you be able to protect my family? Can you get them outside of Waterdeep?
She says, yes, if this is what you want.
If Xanthar is the one who gave him the stone, he obviously trying to lure me in through my family. I'd rather my family not be here for this.
I can arrange for such a change of view.
Okay.
We have located the safe house in which Stev is hiding. It is a inn that is called Guts and Glory. It's a dirty dismay tavern at the docks, and we know that there is an entrance from that place to the Xanathar's hideout, or at least one of its hideouts. We will create a diversion and attack one of its main bastions at Skullport. We need you to break into that inn, find Stev, force him to tell you about the entrance that he knows to the Xanathar's hideout, and then free Harshnag. And she then looks at all of you, and especially at you, Quarian, for some reason, and she says, any other prisoner held there is not important. You need to free Harshnag. Doesn't matter who you see there. They are of no consequences.
Foreshadowing.
Who will I see there? What do you know that you don't want to tell us?
She says, there is a lot on the scales here. We have lost a major card when we lost the Remorseless, even though I tried to communicate with you and warn you. I also know about the interesting way in which you've arrived, Waterdeep. There are forces here at play that we are not even capable to understand, comprehend, or stop. Definitely not by making mistakes. This is why I need you. People who are able to sink a fort made of ice, occupied by dozens and dozens of frost giants. Capable people like you to make the right decisions at the right time. This isn't about one city. This isn't about one family. This is about the people of the Sword Coast and even beyond. In the Xantar's lair, you'll see many horrors. This creature is dangerous. It will do anything to snare you as well and use you for his own schemes and plots.
Like you are?
She, you can hear the Lord kind of
lingering rage.
Yeah, right.
She kind of grabs, the staff tighter, and you feel as if you've touched something. She kind of falters for a moment, and the mask kind of falls off, and you can see the young and insecure woman that stands before you, and then she kind of builds it up again and says, I'm trying not to repeat mistakes that I may have done in the past.
All right.
Before we go on this quest for you, there's a few things we need to get straightened out here in Waterdeep. I'm going to turn to Lord Elterchul. What was the name he gave for the greasy-looking guy that Galen beat up?
Stev?
Low, I think.
Wait. It was Ildor.
Ildor. I'm going to go, your man Ildor. Galen would not have done what he did without a good reason. You don't know him like we do. Tell us about Ildor and why he is so close to Galen's wife.
Galen's married?
Size Forgar.
She kind of rolls her eyes. The black stuff. The Lord kind of shrugs and say, I have no idea. He came with her asking for funds to rebuild Golden Fields and ask for some residents to the poor that have lost their homes there.
So I promise you this, Galen won't come with us unless he is assured that his wife is safe, which means Ildor can no longer be in the picture. And we won't survive without Galen.
He's very powerful.
He says, in this case,
even without his soul.
That's the second thing.
So when you say that, he kind of looks at you and then kind of, working very hard to kind of avert his gaze and continue as if nothing happened. But obviously you kind of did something there. And he says, well, we can obviously give her quarters here, and I'll have my best people make sure that she's safe.
I'm going to look at the black staff and insight that, how she responds to that.
So you know, metagaming, you can hear her roll dice as well. Inciting him.
Yeah, 15.
So you believe he is sincere about his offer to kind of protect his wife. He is somehow aware of Galen's situation. This is what you kind of read, and you believe the Blackstaff have read the same thing.
So we can present that option to him, but only if my agent Fillory will stay with her.
This is acceptable and easy to arrange.
So the other portion of that is, and I'm going to look at that huge portrait up there. Galen has also got himself entangled in another painting by that man, and we need that entanglement stopped.
He kind of blinks and says,
He lost his soul.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yes, you do.
No,
we can break it down for you.
We found the painting in your warehouse.
Oh,
we have the painting.
That old thing. What were you doing looking at my stuff at this warehouse anyway? And he turns to the Blackstaff and says, you see, meddling adventurers everywhere, opening chests they don't need to open. This is exactly how mistakes are made. And he turns to you and says, this was a present from a frenemy. I never opened it. I just left her there. Never got to really look into it.
Well, before we go down, he's going to need that back. What was lost?
I have no idea what he lost, but I can...
Well, your frenemy wanted to capture your soul in that painting.
So he kind of turns white at this point, but then regain controls, and the Blackstaff says, maybe I should have a look at that painting. And he says, no, this is blowing out of proportions. I'm
going to go to the door. I'm going to open it. Fillory, can you please have Lorne bring in the portrait?
He says,
without uncovering it.
Yeah, please don't look at it.
Yeah, she knows.
She walks at the corridor like with it open. You can see like a dozen people there.
So Lord Short's party was cool, but I lost my soul.
Yeah. Feels so weird now.
I don't know if we'll go back next year.
So he says, that's fine. Have your agent bring it to my study. I'll see what I can do.
I think the Blackstaff wanted to investigate this.
And she...
Sorry, Lord Elturchel, I must defer to her.
She looks at the Lord and says, and at you and says, yes, please bring it to my study.
Nice. Done.
Then there's a knock at the door. The door opens and this elderly woman who is about the same age as Lord Elturchel kind of walks in. You can see her silvery hair is in this very nice dew, noble haircut, flowing gown, and a brilliant ring on her finger. And she says, is everything okay here? And the Lord kind of turns around and says, oh yes, my dear wife, please, you have already met the Blackstaff. These are... And he kind of stops midway.
Hi, I'm Forgar. Nice to meet you.
Quarian, my lady.
I'm not going to introduce myself.
Excellent hair, by the way.
And Fillory walks in just behind her with a rolled up painting, and she's about to kind of hand it to you, and then the lady puts a delicate arm on her arm and says, the men are talking right now. Let's let them be for a couple of more minutes. And then she kind of, pushes her out and closes the door.
You would have seen like a lot of rage on Fillory's face at that moment.
We all looked at you like,
Is this your frenemy?
Probably.
That was
my lady. I need that. I'm gonna point at the door. I need that painting.
So the door is closed, and you can see the Lord kind of looks at you, as in, don't do this.
What does the black staff look at me like?
She's looking at politics at play, so she says absolutely nothing. She kind of, with frozen face.
Picturing Galen soulless running through my head, I'm gonna walk around her and open the door.
Okay, so you open the door and you can see Fillory kind of, boiling red there, about to, explode into a million shards, holding the painting, about to open it like in front of her. And she looks at you, the Lord's lady, and smiles and says, are you done there?
Sorry, what did you say?
Are you done there?
Almost. I'll grab the painting and wink at Fillory and close the door.
So wait. Kind of reaching out and kind of invading her space. She's a high lord of Waterdeep. This is dangerous. And you know it.
Mm-hmm. I do.
Don't care.
So you reach out and grab the painting. The lady simply looks at you and says, remind me your last name?
Do you have one?
Erickson.
So she says, Lord Erickson, in a cold way. So you basically made yourself a bitter enemy at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And she smiles a frozen smile and leaves.
All right. Well,
She's not happy
make sure she doesn't kill Fillory on her way out. I'm going to bring Fillory into the library now.
No, they kind of walk at each other and eye each other like,
daggers,
lasers. And then they...
Jesus. So, okay, well, I'll hand the painting to the black staff.
Okay, and she says, keep the scroll that I gave you. If things go astray down there, use it.
What's it do?
We will.
It will get you to my tower.
How many people will it transport?
It's a regular teleport spell, so I think it's 5 or 6 or whatever.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll have to look that up.
Okay, Galen. While this was happening, you heard a couple of things from your wife's. Remind me her name. Evelyn, right. So you have heard the following. First, the meeting that she had with the Open Lord was just an introduction. She's about to have another one in a few days' time. The Open Lord is basically working to secure food and shelter and funds, not only for Golden Fields. You have heard that another big settlement named Tribor was attacked, along with 10 towns, and there is this emergency in Thornhold, the Dwarven Hold, that the king and the daughter that you have rescued, the king is here at Waterdeep. So there is some emergency going on there too, and the Open Lord is kind of very busy at the moment. So there's kind of a discussion how pushy your wife should be, asking for resources, etc. So this is one thing. The other thing is that her men or her kind of entourage try to discourage her from staying at Waterdeep. They say that it's very dangerous. There is basically a crime, a guild war between two factions. You assume they mean the Zentarim and the Zantar, which you have just met. So they are trying to kind of push her away. And the third thing is that some advise her to take, and all they say is the Lord's offer, which she kind of refuses to do. All she says is that she will try to do her best with Waterdeep before turning anywhere else. So this is what you hear. And then you can see your friends kind of, descend to the stairways.
I'm still worried about her, so I'll still try and follow them.
Okay. Now let's assume you kind of meet at the Grand Hall below the floating elven ladies.
We
All right.
probably rest. We should definitely rest before doing whatever.
Well, yeah. Well, we can't go until the Black Staff figures out that painting and gets Galen's soul back. I'll explain to you the conversation, what happened, who was there.
Yes, that sounds very important. That guy, you know magic, right? You can do like find things out, right? You've done like weird
Perhaps
talking people's head thing. I would really like to know what he's thinking.
Okay.
What his plans are.
I can try. I will tell you that if we're going to go down there and if you want her safe, there's two options. One is what Lord Elter Chol said, and I'll tell you that I'll let Fillory will stay behind with her to try and keep her safe. The other option is if you can convince her to go with Fillory and Lauren, I'll have them take her wherever the carriage can get to. All right, what am I going to do here with this guy?
And do you trust Lord Elder Chol?
No.
Right.
That's why I kind of insisted that Fillory would stay behind. I don't know. All right. I think whatever I do to this guy, we should do it outside of this manor house, though.
Yes, of course.
Oh, how do we get him out? Willingly.
We just wait till they leave.
Oh.
Well, I don't want to do like anything bad, but
We're angling for a restraining order, yeah.
I'm gonna look at you and the two paladins, and then you probably don't want to be there.
Okay, I guess I can make him tell the truth, without even hitting him.
Fine.
Yes, hitting him would be bad, but as long as Eveline doesn't see it.
I wouldn't hit him.
I'm not going to be a part of
your way. Why don't we try your way first?
Yeah, and I'll say, like I'm cracking my knuckle. Oh, I wouldn't, hit him. And they're like looking down at my feet. Like,
we all have a
flash. Doesn't count when I kick him.
So
I say we wait for them to leave, and then we follow them.
Ooh, yeah.
And me and Forgar?
I don't trust them.
I think we use your zone of truth first. We separate them.
I just can't. I'm probably not the stealthiest mother trucker out here.
Oh, that's okay. I think we just separate the two of them, and then we bring him to you.
I could probably invite him to come to a talk with you. Again, like cracking my knuckles. But probably not in front of Eveline again.
Again.
I could make myself look like Lord Elterchol's butler.
I think Rugby is like, you guys, are we the baddies? Are we about to kidnap a person?
No, we're about to.
I'm going to the buffet.
That is clearly.
You know what? I'm following you.
I will He will go to you on his own will.
whatever.
So Peleus joins the two of you.
I can give the three of you like a target practice. Throws a snail over.
You need to
let's
step
fight
on
it.
that thing quick,
Yeah.
or throw it in the well or something.
You know,
As
let's
a-
go.
as a-
Let's go to like a big open place in the party and just smash it and fight it.
Throw it at the noble's toilet.
His plate. You put it on his plate.
Serve it.
As-
Yeah, escargot.
As a player, you know what's going to happen as soon as it's dropped to 0 hit point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Caleb
Yeah.
would know
Forgot.
that.
Let's look for
And I want
a
that
good
to
place
happen
store
in
this.
somebody's stomach or mouth, I should say.
Yeah.
Maybe we should cook it.
No,
It's still gonna.
please God.
There's a huge creature on a small frying pan.
Yeah. We go look for a place to put this now.
Maybe like
Okay.
throw it in the sea or something.
So you three, Peleus, Forgar, and Rukvi, go somewhere to place the snail. The rest of you, what are you doing? What are you doing?
I guess we're doing this my way,
Which means
which means waiting for that guy to leave and then interrogating him.
okay. So Rukvi, Forgar, and Peleus, you kind of move away and follow the herd of the guests as they kind of work to kind of fill plates, drink as much as they can. So you kind of look around. Then you, Forgar, are kicked,
Hey,
and you see Red Nora,
Nora.
the dwarven lady
Yes.
that you have, the princess,
Yes.
and she is kind of
Hey.
hey, and then she hugs you. What are you doing here?
I am enjoying the party. We were invited.
This
What
is
are you doing here?
I have brought my father here.
Hey.
Come, you have to meet him. And then she kind of pulls you along with Rukvi and Peleus, and she says, she goes around and says, Father, you have to meet the adventures that saved my life. And then you meet this young, almost beardless dwarf with glowing green eyes. He looks like, an infant in terms of dwarf years.
Yeah.
He's wearing a big hat with a feather on top of it and a shiny belt with red boots, white shirt, and golden earrings. And just before you kind of bump into him, like belly to belly, another dwarf kind of interjects between the two of you. That this guy looks what a dwarf should look like: grim, angry, armored to the teeth. And he stops and looks at you, and the young one says, "It's okay. Radovan, it's okay." And then the young one says, "Come to a room in which we can talk like equals. Not here. I don't feel very comfortable looking at so many belts. Come." And he takes you to a private room and then removes his hat. And then his appearance changes to a wizened old dwarf, white beard, touches the floor, majestic outfit. His big eyes do remain, though, piercing and warm as he looks at you. And he kind of slaps Ridnora at the back of her head and says, "Well, you did a good job."
Thank you. We managed to keep her safe even through everything that was thrown at us.
And this is why I need you to go on a mission.
A mission?
Yes.
We're kind of busy at the moment.
Yeah, we're
with
a little
other
bit
stuff,
booked,
but like, what's your mission?
What's the gig, sir?
Well, there is a reason I am here, and not at my kingdom, because my kingdom is under attack by some unknown, shadowy, demonic force. And Red Nora, she have met you. Well, at least not you. And he points at Rukvi. But
I'm new.
yes, but the
He's
rest,
chill.
she has met you, and she says that I can trust you. And we have found this in our waterways. And just to kind of give you context, Thornhold is built on a cliff, and the underside of the cliff is, well, it meets the sea, and there are tunnels there that the dwarves call the waterways, where they kind of they use it as a trading port of a sort. And the king says, our people there are dead, each and every one of them, dead with a horrified look on his face, frozen in total fear. There are no wounds, there are no gory, bloody, nothing, just a look of utter fear and a dead heart. We did find this next to one of the corpses, and he unfolds a leathery pouch and shows you a black dagger, ancient one. And it reeks of evil, he says, and then it kind of covers it immediately. I don't know what was unleashed at our kingdom, but I came especially for you to ask for your help. Me, in my flesh, and not some emissary or, a messenger. Me, asking you to help us in our difficult time. There is some evil lurking beneath our fortress, and my daughter says I can trust you.
That's
he says,
really awful for your kingdom.
He says, we have sent some brave dwarves down there, and they have returned talking about sigils carved into the stone that glow on the walls, and some whispers along the waterways. This is something we are not accustomed to. We are not equipped to deal with. But you, people who have sunk a giant ship full of frost giants, you must be powerful enough to tackle this. Please.
Master Dorf, this dagger you just showed me. Now, I'm not proficient in magic. I'm simply a servant of the Earth Mother. But perhaps we can find somebody who could tell you what that dagger is.
He kind of
what it does.
He hands it to you.
It's wrapped, right?
Yes.
I just take my shield out and put it on my shield and just hold it like.
Okay. So yes, it does kind of emanate this cold, dark, and surprisingly enough, you do feel a connection to the earth, but to its blackened roots. So this is definitely something in your domain. You feel this was maybe like a ritual dagger of some sort that was desecrated by a force belonging to the domain or the realm of the earth, but something along its blackest roots or the black heart of the earth.
Could I do some roll to get specific details about it?
Yes, you can.
Arcana or history?
Yeah,
or
you kind of wave your arm around it, above it as you kind of focus.
So which one would it be?
This would be religion.
Awesome. It's still -1.
Can I help?
Yeah, sure. Why not? So
then it gives him advantage?
Yeah.
All right. Crit.
Crit is amazing.
Well, it's a 19.
So, as you kind of wave your hand around it, Folgar, you can see above it. You can see Rukvi's face kind of turn ashen, and he starts to bleed from his eyes, and then his eyes turn black. Okay, and the camera moves to Quarian and the rest of the gang.
What, did I feel it, by the way?
I don't know. You'll find out next session.
All right.
Okay, the rest of you.
Yes.
So, your plan.
I'm clearly I'm getting impatient. Looking at Andres, you said something about looking like the butler.
Yeah. Did you want me to see if we can get him to leave? I don't want to cast any spells in this manner.
I don't know how you do it, but
well. So you don't want to be there, I'm guessing?
I don't want to be there, but I probably should be there.
What about outside the door?
Yeah, to save Evelyn, I'm fine with whatever you have in mind.
Okay.
I want to be there to figure out what is up with him.
Okie dokie. I will send. Well, does Fillory or Lorne know of any, I don't know, abandoned warehouse or empty space where we can be safe from prying eyes nearby?
Yes, of course.
Good. All right. Perfect. Then I'm going to discreetly use my alter self ability, or what do they call it? Mask of Many Faces, to disguise myself to look like the butler.
Yep.
Are they still in the garden?
Yes.
Okay, so then I'm just going to kind of like peek around a corner in his eyesight so that he can see me. And then I'm just going to like motion him over.
Okay. He comes to you, looks at you and quizzically and approach you.
My lord needs to speak to you discreetly, and I'm just going to turn around and walk.
He will follow you.
All right. Remember that Monty Python sketch where the French waiter takes the guy on the like abnormally long walk out into the countryside? It's going to be like that. Okay. Come this way. And I'll just keep walking him farther and farther away until we get to that, wherever that location is.
Okay. In which Galen kind of waits?
Yeah, you can be there. I'll just tell you to come in after we're in there.
Okay.
Give me a couple of seconds.
I think I would be more likely that I would like follow near, like behind them.
Okay. Enderist, as you walk your newly acquired friend, the elf, you hear
I'm missing out here.
You hear a whisper in your head.
I can't hear you at all.
1, 2, 3.
There you are.
Okay, I'm back. Great. So as you walk your newly acquired friend, the elf, you feel Galen's presence kind of looming behind you, and you hear a voice in your head. And as you hear this voice, the world kind of, you can see it like in a tunnel view. Everything is becoming darker and darker, as if a great shadow is covering you. And the voice says, I cannot protect you from what's about to happen.
Do I recognize this voice?
Yes. You are in touch.
Abort mission.
You are in touch with this voice for a long time.
Abort. I'm out. I'm just going to wheel off into the nearest populated building.
Okay.
Change shape into a dockhand and stand there and wait for him to leave.
Okay. So he stands like, what's going on? Where did he go? And you, Galen, kind of step right behind him as he stands in the middle of nowhere. He took him to some garden at Waterdeep. So you are standing in front of him and you feel, oh man. What do you do?
How many people are around here?
Not a lot. It's like most of the population, the nearby population, has left to the party, so you're kind of alone with him.
Okay. I'll say loudly, "Oh, there you are, you killer! I got you now. Time for justice," and I'll jump him.
Okay.
Knock him out.
So
something must have gone wrong. I need to knock him out.
So you do this, but something pushes you even beyond. So all you suddenly see and feel is you over this guy. His head is like gone. Okay, it's a pulp of red and gray and things you don't want to remember. And your fist is simply in and out, in and out, in and out. And you hear this voice telling you, How many lives have you lived? Oh, I see. I can feel your lifeline, and your fist kind of goes in and out, in and out. It's the only one, and there will be no more for you. Unless you accept this gift. That is, I can offer you a sample of immortality in exchange to that you have given me. Fist in and out, in and out, in and out.
Shit.
Am I watching this? Can I see it?
I don't know. You tell me. You
Well,
were
yeah,
told.
I was-
You were told that you cannot be protected from it.
Yeah, I was waiting nearby, so I'm just gonna stand there in the shadows and watch impassively.
Okay.
So creepy.
Mhm.
That
Says
is
the
the
guy who's
least creepy
pummeling
thing
the
you've
guy.
done.
Yeah.
So, Andres, you can tell me if you stay and watch. I might throw something at you, but I need you to know if you kind of stay or
Yeah.
do you kind of shut yourself down and.
No, I will stay and watch.
Okay. So you hear the voice that you are familiar with says, "Behold the dark gift of Dalvernal, he of the many teeth." And as you see, Galen kind of pulverizes this elf.
Okay.
And
Where am I in the whole scenario?
You're the elf.
I'm
Plot twist.
the half elf at the moment.
Wait, you can change into a full elf?
We probably would have set you if you were going to help us. We probably would have been waiting at the drop point.
Okay.
So they never got there. So you're simply waiting there for no one to come.
Okay.
Safe and sound.
Safe and sound, yes. So,
For the time being.
yeah. So until our next session.
Hmm.
Oh man,
Well,
more mysteries.
Losing your soul is a good thing.
Yes.
You think when you meet the black staff, she's gonna be like, all right, so here's everything that you don't know, and then more mystery.
Guys, thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
And
It was a lovely party. I can't wait to go to a similar party in real life. Like nothing like that ever happens at the parties I go to. Like so boring.
Fun session as always.
great.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Hopefully everybody will be healthy and sound and safe.
Mhm.
Sleep tight, have great dreams. Yeah.
Yeah, you too.
Yes. Giving us nightmares here.
What a better way to spend the weekend, right? With nightmares.
You broke up there, but yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
See
Bye.
Bye, guys.
guys.
Have a great weekend.
You do.
ya.
You too.
Bye bye.